This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
You know who I can do without? I can do without the people in the video store.
Which ones?
All of them.
This is Massive Late Fee with Mike and Mark.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Massive Late Fee. My name is Mark. With me, as always, is my co-host Mike. How are you doing, Mike?
Not too bad. How about you?
I'm doing well. We've had a good week here at Massive Late Fee. I have been able to figure out how to get this board up and running, which should help editing tremendously because I can just put the theme song in there and everything. But we did it. Yay!
We did it.
And we also have a studio audience here today. They're ready to laugh at whatever we say.
You know what's funny is I have this app on my phone that I was going to bring today and just do like sound effects, but you ended up doing it.
Yeah, I love playing with this machine. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world. We got this from Rode, from Jason Turnbull, the great man, one of the great men out there. He sent it along to us. I did a review of it. You heard it, but I'll probably mention it from time to time about the great Procaster microphones and the this fantastic board and all the stuff that we've gotten from Rode. And like I said, I mean, I did the review because we got the stuff, but honestly, if the stuff wasn't good, they didn't say like you got to give us a good review. If the stuff wasn't good, I would have said, it sucks, but it's literally like the best equipment. I mean, listen to anyone that has the Rodecaster Pro mixer, and I mean they poured research into this and years of development to figure out exactly what podcasters needed, and we're able to do it. Mike, one of the exciting things about this is I might want to hook up a couple interviews coming up here. One that I've told you about, another one that might come through. I'm not sure. But one of the great things about this is it connects to Bluetooth, and it has automatic mix minus, so there's no echo, and you'll be able to hear if we have an interview, you'll be able to hear the person, I'll be able to hear the person, they'll be able to hear both of us. So it's fantastic.
Nice.
So this week we I don't know how does this show go? I forget now.
This is our regular show.
Oh yeah, that's
as always. We'll start off with what's in the news.
Yeah, that's right, the news. So I've heard a couple things, news wise. Have you heard anything so far this week?
I'm sorry. Have I?
Do you have any news for us this week?
The unfortunate passing away of Robert Forrest.
Yeah, he was in the movie
he
we
was
watched.
in the most. Yeah, he was in El Camino, and he was also in one of my favorite movies, Jackie Brown. He plays Max Cherry. He was in a lot of stuff in the 60s as well, I guess. I'm not super knowledgeable about his repertoire, but I'm a big fan of everything I've seen him in.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He was very good in Breaking Bad, obviously, and the El Camino movie. He played, in case you don't know who he is, he played the Disappearer.
Ed.
Yeah, the guy that owned the vacuum store.
Right.
The other thing I heard that we failed to talk about, for whatever reason, although this kind of came out last week, is that Kevin Feige is going to do a Star Wars movie, I guess. He's going to produce one of the new Star Wars films.
Cool.
And he's also gotten a new title. He's taking control of TV and comics for Marvel. So I know that's probably exciting to some people out there, and Mike does not care about it at all.
Is that all we have for the news, Mark?
Yeah, I mean it's a light week for the news. Plus, I was figuring out how to get my new toy to run. So, both those things took up some time.
Sure.
But now we will move on to Educating Mike. This is where we plumb the depths of the celebrity gossip column and look for...
Educating Mike?
Oh, I'm sorry. Keeping current with Mike. Educating Mike is some piece of shit segment that we did a long time ago. Like 4 episodes ago.
All right, we're going to a place that I should have thought of before, but I never did until today.
Okay.
It's page6.com.
Okay.
Which is just page6.com.
Nice.
Our first story is Gina Rodriguez says the N-word in Instagram video.
Oh my god. Okay, well I don't know who Gina Rodriguez is.
Yeah, I'm not really sure who she is.
It seems like a bad that seems like a bad look, to use that word.
Yeah, as you've told me many times, don't record yourself when you say that.
So Gina Rodriguez is she's an actress. And she is, it looks like, Hispanic.
It's important to mention that she is not black.
Yeah, she is. She was on. Okay, so if you've ever seen Jane the Virgin, which I have not.
Nope.
She was on Jane the Virgin. She is from Chicago, Illinois. So she is American. Her ancestry is Puerto Rican. So she's Puerto Rican. She has her heritage is Puerto Rican, which either way she'd be American because Puerto Ricans are Americans. But yeah, not a good look at all. So I know that there are people that have the pass to use that word. That there are white people that get the N-word pass. I'm guessing she's not one of them.
Yeah, I guess not. I don't know. Does anybody really have a pass anymore? I mean, if they ever really...
I don't know. I guess I would defer to the black community because I don't know.
Quentin Tarantino, I guess, in his own mind.
Yeah, in his own mind, for sure.
Like, uncomfortably so sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't say it on his lawn, I'll tell you that much.
Right. Our next headline is Miranda Kerr and Evan Spiegel welcomes...
Who do they welcome?
Their son, Miles.
Oh, okay. Miranda Kerr?
Kerr. She's like a model. She used to date Orlando Bloom. She's pretty attractive. And Evan Spiegel is the guy from Snatch.
The guy from Snatch? Is she Sean Kerr's or Steve Kerr's daughter or something?
I don't think so. She doesn't look like a freak.
Oh, she's Australian. Okay, so we have some listeners in Australia. Shout out to Australia. I will not torture you with a horrible Australian accent. Now, an accent of the Norse gods we would give you, but not a not that. Okay, yeah, she began modeling when she was 13. Winning the 1997 Dolly Magazine's search competition. Well, good for her.
I think she got some free Vegemite for that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Evan Spiegel is not an attractive
and a
man.
tour of Yahoo Serious's childhood home.
I remember he did a commercial for MTV. And he started out by saying Yahoo, and I'm serious, and it was terrible. It was maybe one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Do you remember the commercials he did for the Australia Board of Tourism? And it was like, when it's winter here, it's summer there. When it's summer here, it's winter there.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh. So this dude must have a lot of money because he's not an ugly guy. He owns Snapchat.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, he's like a million, like in the tens of millions, if not, a billionaire.
Oh, he was named the youngest billionaire in the world in 2015. So you are right up on it.
Yeah, I'm sure that had no factor into this. I mean, she probably just liked him, and then like, oh shit, he also works and owns Snapchat.
Yeah. She just thought he was a bum. But she loved his soul.
Right.
He's not a terrible looking guy, but he's a very normal, average looking guy. And as you mentioned, she is a fairly attractive woman.
And she's the rare model that's attractive.
Exactly. Agreed. Mike and I are on lockstep with that. There are not a lot of them. Unfortunately, I guess whatever body type you need to have that clothes look best on you is not a body type that I am personally attracted to. Not to say that those women are worthless or anything like that. It's just type. Mike and I have a similar type as far as women go, and it's typically not models.
It's not that.
Correct.
Our next story, Cuba Gooding Jr. allegedly told a woman to, quote, sit on my face, pee in my mouth.
Holy shit! Oh, so he said pee on me. Okay.
No, in my mouth, specifically.
A little traffic Tony P action going on there. That's a deep cut. So, wow. I mean, I guess, what's the context of him saying this? Because, that's not necessarily bad if it's consensual.
Yeah, I know he's like I don't know, he's like been charged with like sexual assault. I don't know if it's related to that or not.
Oh, okay.
I haven't really followed this story that much because I don't really care about Cuba Gooding Jr. or Sr. Omar Gooding, yeah, I'd be all over that one, but this is neither of the Goodings that I prefer. And I mean...
Yeah. So according to this, he's pled guilty to sexual abuse. Indictment includes 12 other allegations. That's not good.
I wonder if that's from the same occurrence or different people or what.
Yeah, I don't know. 12 allegations. Cuban denies all these allegations. This is a typical scenario in which random people come out of the woodwork to accuse a celebrity who has already been charged. They have no credibility because Cuba was not charged with any of those allegations. I mean, I guess.
I like how they say that, but every celebrity recently that's been like charged and like people that come out of the woodwork, it's all like held up to, it's all held up. Like Harvey Weinstein, what's his name? The guy who killed himself, quote unquote, Jeffrey Epstein,
Oh yeah, that fuck.
All these people, I mean, the charges have been substantiated, so that's like a terrible argument.
Yeah, it's really so I don't know if anyone's ever, this is a legal term that's actually used, honestly. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the phrase damning with faint praise, which is where you're like, oh yeah, he's a good guy, and you can tell that you think he's a piece of shit. This is the opposite of that, which is praising with faint damnation, which basically means when they're arguing, when they're not arguing the facts, they're arguing, things around the facts. Then it's like, well, if you can't argue the facts, then the facts are probably against you. So they're not saying basically they're saying, like you said, these women just come out of the woodwork, they're just liars or whatever. And that's a really horrible argument because I don't know what the current statistics are, but I know that the quote unquote false allegation, obviously they do happen sometimes, and there's been a couple high profile cases over the last 30 years, but it's rare. Most of the time, if a woman's coming forward saying that she was sexually assaulted, she's telling the truth. And, I think that's, I'm not necessarily in the believe all women camp or anything like that, but, sexual abuse is a problem, a big problem in society that, we should all be against. And for the most part, women are telling the truth. When it comes to court of law stuff, then you need to weigh the evidence. But another misnomer is that a woman testifying to what happened is not evidence, or it's circumstantial evidence and stuff like that, which it is. It's not hard evidence, but circumstantial evidence is not bad evidence. It's just circumstantial evidence. So, it's like people have these misnomers about things. That's enough. A woman's testimony if it's deemed credible, is enough to, to prove, which it should be, because, in many cases you don't have anything else. So I don't know Cuba Gooding Jr.'s story. Like you said, you haven't been following it. I haven't been following it, so I'm not going to pass judgment on it. But it's a bad sign if 12, 13 people are coming out saying you did this shit. It's really not a good sign.
Right. It's not a good indication.
No, not at all. We got anything else here?
No, that's all I have this week for keeping current and educating Mike.
So we've kept current and we've gotten educated about celebrities and their shitty lives. Now we're going to move on to the Parents Guide game. For those of you who are new, what are you doing here? But no, we love new listeners. Come in, new listeners. Get acclimated to the show. But this is where we go through. Mike and I each pick a movie. We read clues to each other about the movie from the Parents Guide on IMDb, and then see how many it takes to get it right. We never keep track officially, but I think both of us keep track spiritually, and on a piece of paper or whatever. Or maybe Mike just remembers.
Exactly.
Mike's got a good memory. So I'm going to go first, Mike. I'm going to start with sex and nudity here. Oh, you know what? In future weeks, I'm going to program in some thinking music for this segment, because I think that will play well. Maybe we can.
There you go.
Maybe we can figure out which kind of thinking music we want to use. But anyway, so the first one here under sex and nudity is no sex or nudity, although there are sex jokes and talk of it.
Huh. Charles in Charge of the movie.
No, that's not it. Although, well, no, it's not Charles in Charge. It's Who's the Boss, I guess. But you ever seen that Tony Danza movie, She's Out of Control?
No.
It's so terrible. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Okay, so next one here. Let me go to violence and gore. Let's see. During the scene in a lunch hall, somebody slaps another character across the face and tells him to shut up.
Zapped.
No, although I guess if there was a Charles in Charge of the movie, I guess it would be Zapped. All right, let's see. Alcohol, drugs, and smoking. One of the characters has been drinking and driving.
Teen Wolf.
Nope. Let's go with profanity. I'll read several of the profanities. A use of ass. I love that phrase. A use of ass. Like the I've used an ass before.
Have you, Mark?
One use of asshole. Here's a callback. Foster Brooks was looking to use an ass in that episode of Small Wonder.
That's probably true.
One use of asshole. Some uses of shit, including a couple of holy shit. Several dams. Many hells. Some uses of bastard and son of a bitch. Some uses of Jesus as exclamations. And then there's one more. The word spook is used by a white character against a black character. This term has racist connotations, which may be offensive for some viewers. You think? You think the word spook has racist connotations?
A Time to Kill.
No. Alright, let's go with more... No, I want to do sex and nudity again. Because I think there's more good ones in there. Alright. One of the main characters takes off her cardigan, and she's wearing a dress with revealed shoulders and collarbone. That's under sex and nudity.
Idle Hands.
No. Although I like that movie. The main character's father is shown as a window peeper in his youth.
Oh, Back to the Future?
Correct. So many of these begin with Marty and Biff. Shit. Oh, man. At age 17, Lorraine drinks alcohol and starts to smoke a cigarette, but she is stopped on both occasions by Marty. He takes a sip of the alcohol, but then spits it out. Oh, yeah, good one. All right, I'm ready for mine.
This movie has a lot of suspense in it.
That was a cheer for you
What?
winning. Sorry, that was a cheer for you winning. I was late on that one.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
This movie has a lot of suspense in it, including some music, and it is really
It's really what?
weird and
The Exorcist.
no. This clue kind of reminds us of our dumpster diving. A vagrant sexually attacked
Wait, a vagrant sexually attacks what?
a woman.
Oh, okay. It.
No.
Alright.
One of the characters sneaks up and kills a few different people in very unsettling ways.
Sneaks up and kills a few different people in unsettling ways. That's supposed to be crickets, but that does not sound like crickets to me.
It sounds like you need to go to a mechanic.
Yeah, no kidding. Oil can. The Wizard of Oz.
No.
Any of that happened in The Wizard of Oz?
A woman is killed by being hit by a hammer, then falling out a window onto a...
Holy shit. Halloween?
No.
Alright.
This is a weird sentence. A man is exploded when his house catches on fire.
Holy shit. A man is exploded when his house catches on fire. Okay, so we got
Exploded.
a house catching on fire. Some woman's hit in the head with a hammer and dies. I mean, obviously it's like a horror movie or something. Lots of people are getting killed here. Friday the 13th, Part 4. Was that it?
No.
Oh, okay. That's sad.
When one of the characters gets shot in the heart, blood splatters on...
Okay. Someone's getting shot in the heart. Huh. Very Bad Things?
No.
Alright.
When one of the characters is shot, he is blown to pieces and can still move and talk.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a zombie movie then. So... Return of the Living Dead?
No.
Okay, 28 Days Later?
Compared to its sequel... No.
Yeah.
Compared to its sequels, this one is relatively tame and...
Alright, compared to its sequels, this one's relatively tame. Several sequels. And I mean, there's a supernatural element here going on here. Getting shot, being blown up, and you can fucking talk. I mean, I guess maybe it's not a zombie movie, but it could be just one of those supernatural dudes. But it's not Freddy, I guess. I mean, that doesn't happen in Freddy. I don't think there's ever anyone where he gets shot. And it's not Michael Myers, and it's not Jason.
And I'll say you don't have to say a specific like volume in the series. Like you don't have to say Friday the 13th Part 6 or
Saw?
No.
Shit. Hellraiser. I didn't hear that, but I think that was...
3 uses of fuck.
Okay.
That was a no. 3 uses of fuck.
Leprechaun.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Leprechaun.
No.
Alright.
You're getting closer, though.
Child's
A
Play?
character continues attacking after being horribly charred.
Child's Play.
Yes.
Oh, yay! I'm trying to remember who got blown up but could still talk. Oh, I remember.
Chucky.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I remember so I assume that this is the original Child's Play, the first one.
It is.
Yeah, I remember the scene where the guy's in the house and his house catches on fire. He blows up and shit. Yeah, okay. Yeah, makes sense. All right, nice. I like that one.
I don't remember anything about the movie.
I remember a little bit about. I mean, I honestly I saw it in the theater. I think it came out in like 87, 88. So I was like 9 years old, and I saw it in the theater. That was the 80s for you. But anyway, so our main topic tonight, or the thing we came here to talk to you about, is have you accepted Jesus into your heart? No, we watched something. Mike, I watched El Camino, the Breaking Bad movie. Did you watch El Camino, the Breaking Bad movie?
I also watched El Camino, the Breaking Bad.
Yeah, what's it called? El Camino, a Breaking Bad story or something like that? A Star Wars story?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that.
What did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it?
Yeah, I did like it. I mean, it was essentially just an extra long, very long actually. I think it was almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it was like 3 episode length of Breaking.
Yeah, it did feel like a long episode for sure.
I mean, it had stuff that I thought was interesting. I mean, it was like I didn't think there were any bad scenes in it. The acting was great. I mean, some of the people didn't look the same anymore. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the acting was really good, I thought.
Yeah.
It was basically what happens to Jesse after he escapes the white supremacy compound at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Todd did not look the same. Todd's put on some weight noticeably.
Yes, yeah.
But that's for a role. I heard that's for Fargo. So
Fargo was like 5 years ago when he played that role. So if so, he's no longer on the show.
Okay.
I mean, he did get heavier for Fargo. I don't know if that was intentional or not. I mean, that was a while ago. That was like season 2 of Fargo. They're about to do season 4, and I think that's like there's been like a year delay or more on like 2 seasons. So yeah, that was a while ago.
Maybe he's just had a hard time taking it off. I guess I don't know. So somebody told me that. I guess they were wrong. Maybe it's for another role. I don't know. But
it may have been for Fargo, but like I said, that was a while ago. However, when he was on that episode of Black Mirror, he wasn't like that heavy. So maybe he is putting on for a role. I don't know.
Yeah, he was a little heavy, but not that heavy. I agree. And not that he's hugely fat or anything. He was very trim in Breaking Bad, and he's noticeably heavier.
He's like a person who has a face that when like you gain weight, it's super noticeable in your face. Like
Absolutely.
that's his. I mean, he's not like ridiculously large or anything, but like I think he just happens to like catch fat in his face pretty well, and it's pretty noticeable. But I mean, I was able to. I mean, no one looks the same. Jesse doesn't look the same. You know.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
What did you think about it?
So I liked it. I liked. So I have mixed feelings on it. I thought like you said, I thought the acting was really good. I thought the writing was good. It was up to snuff for Breaking Bad standards. There were some things in it that I thought were interesting. We got a little more expansion of sort of the periphery of this world. We got to see a little more. We got to see a lot more about Todd than I thought we were going to get to see.
Yeah,
and
there was a nice part of the beginning where Skinny Pete and Badger show up, and Jesse he basically goes to their house because like that's the only place he can think of to go, and they he's like in a horrible state. They kind of clean him up, give him some space, and then they actually call a past interview guest of ours.
Yep, absolutely. Mr. Hankin here is in the movie Larry Hankin, which he basically said to us this movie's happening. Now, we couldn't say anything. He was under, and he didn't specifically tell us this, but he was under what's it called?
NDA.
Yeah, non-disclosure agreement. But he said to us, "I'm in a movie. I can't tell you what it is. It comes out in October." And this was a while ago, so they knew they were dropping this in October for a long time. But yeah, he was in it. But real quick, I just want to say that the problem that I have with the movie, because everything about it's great. It's well filmed, cinematography's great. I like the characterization, I like the acting. The only problem that I really have with the movie is it necessary? Did we need it? I watched it and I was like, that's cool, and I like being in this world, but I didn't really get anything out of it. When he left that compound, like all screaming and shit like that, my thought process was he's going to go to Alaska, because he mentioned Alaska before, and spoilers for this movie, it's exactly what he does. He goes to Alaska. So that was the only problem I had with it. But would I rather have a kind of meaningless, not really necessary, incredibly well-made thing than some hunk of crap, that somebody's going to put out? Yeah. I mean, I'd rather Vince Gilligan make something that doesn't really matter that much in the grand scheme of the story, but is still really good. And it really is good to be in this world again.
It's nice to see the same characters, I mean, all the performances are great in this, especially Badger and Skinny Pete. I really like seeing those two kind of interact with each other again.
Yep.
Yeah, like you said, Todd, Jesse Plemons does a great job as Todd. I mean, Todd just the more Todd's like an onion that's rotted to the core. Like the more layers you peel away, the darker he gets. Like he just is so casual about killing things and violence and that kind of thing. Like back on Breaking Bad, when he just shot Brock's mother in the face, he has no qualms about anything. He says he's sorry. He might even be sorry, but he just has no. It's kind of funny because amongst a group of neo-Nazis, the most frightening one of them all is the nicest one of them all.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you said, Jesse Plemons is a fantastic actor, and I really love the way he plays this character. I think a lot of it is on the page because Vince Gilligan's a really good writer, but I don't think there's not many actors I think that could play this as well as he plays it. And he's really good at playing a guy that's clearly some sort of sociopath. Not completely, because I know he does. There are things where you can see he has emotions. So he's not completely emotionless. But he's some sort of psychopath. But also... You
just see, Jesse Plemons, plays a detached part of his personality so well. He just, is so casual, and, he has no inflection, when he talks about, the grisliest of crimes.
Yeah. But he's like you said, he's also kind of a nice guy. He's one of those people that's, and it's probably from practice, I guess, of socializing with people. But he's got the social niceties and everything down super well.
Right, yeah, because we discovered that he actually took Jesse out of the cage while this part was kind of hilarious to me. I guess the neo-Nazis bought a boat and they're going water skiing.
Yeah. I want to see. I want him to make a movie that's just basically a Weekend at Bernie's comedy or something of the neo-Nazis on the lake.
Yeah, no, I want it to be like the old camp. They're trying to buy up the camp, but if we do this by this side.
Yeah, Uncle Jack's got to. He's like, now a lot of white kids go to this camp. It's a respite from those N-words.
Oh no, they'll be the bad guys. So it'll be like a bunch of preteens at day camp. These mean guys are trying to buy us out. It's neo-Nazis.
Oh my god, that's awesome. I would love to see that. I would also honestly love to see. I'd even watch a whole show of not even just another spin-off movie. I'd watch a whole show of Badger and Skinny Pete. I fucking love them.
They're hilarious. It was fun when they had Combo in the group as well. But yeah, those two play off each other so well. Mm-hmm. Both the actors are amazing in this. I love seeing them on screen again. It's been nice since they've been gone since we last saw Breaking Bad. And so it starts off. Jesse is like on the, he's still on the road, and like the police are essentially coming for him right there. So he kind of pulls off to the side of the road and like bends over. And then he shows up at their house. They clean him up, and they're watching the news. And basically, the whole story is out there. They think he's a person of interest, which almost always in real life means a suspect.
Right.
And like this massacre that happened between the Heisenberg, who just vanished for like 6 months, just was not seen. Then he shows back up here, and I think it's 10 people are killed total, including him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. One thing that I love about this too is if you notice. So they talk about Star Trek a lot. They talk about, sci-fi. They're playing that video game when he first shows up. And if you notice, the chairs that they have are modeled after like Captain Kirk's Star Trek like chairs on the bridge.
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch, and there's like some Star Trek memorabilia in the background and everything. So it's those little things like that that show that they really pay attention to characters and make stuff believable, even stuff that like a lot of people don't notice. Because honestly, I don't like. I read a couple articles about Easter egg stuff. I did notice the chairs, but I didn't really notice the stuff in the background. And there's other stuff I'll talk about later, Easter eggy things, because there's a lot of Easter eggs in here that I didn't really notice. I noticed some of them. I didn't notice other ones. But stuff like that most people are not going to notice, or a lot of people don't notice that they put in the background. I love the attention to detail that Vince Gilligan, it shows he really cares about the quality, the characters, and he puts all of that into the show, and it really makes a difference.
Yeah, that's always been like a hallmark since Breaking Bad. And there's another actually good part of that in this episode, because when they give him like clothes and that kind of stuff, because they're trying to help him go on the run. Mm-hmm. And then when Mr. Hankins shows up, he does like a sweep of the car. He goes, "Yeah, I'll take care of this for free," because everybody has heard at this point how he was kept in a cage for months at a time and tortured daily. So even the really cold-hearted I forget his name, Joe, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Even he's like, "Yeah, I'll give you a free one for old time's sake." And then he's scanning the car, and then suddenly his sensor box, I guess, goes off, and he goes, "Oh, a LoJack's been activated on this. I'm going right now." And he just runs as fast as he can, which isn't very fast at all and kind of funny in a way.
Yeah.
But he gets to his tow truck and he just tears off, telling Jesse, "Sorry, but you got to go. They're coming for you."
Yep. Yeah, and then I love how, Jesse's going to take the car. He's going to get out of here. He apologizes to Skinny Pete because he knows that cops are going to come here. He doesn't want to get them involved. And I love it because you see a lot about their characters here. So again, like in very subtle ways, you get a look at their characters throughout the series, and you get more of a look at their characters here. It's like they've always been very loyal to Jesse. They're really good guys, and they're not total morons. Like they could easily be cliches, but they're not written like cliches. And Skinny Pete comes up with this plan on the fly, which is a really good plan. He's like, Badger, you take the El Camino, you drive it to, like towards Mexico. And he asks Jesse, are you thinking of going to Mexico? And he's like, no. And he's like, okay, drive it, over there.
No, actually, he told Badger to take the Fiero.
No, I think
because Skinny Pete ended up ultimately with the El Camino.
Oh yeah, that's right. He took Skinny Pete's car. That's right, because they've got LoJack on that, so that wouldn't have worked. He takes Skinny Pete's car. Skinny Pete's keeping the El Camino, and Jesse's taking Badger's car. And he says, I'll just tell him you came over here. We swapped pink slips, so you've got my car now. And they've got they're throwing the feds off the track at the same time. And he's basically like, look, I can hold out for 3 hours, Badger. So you got like 3 hours. Get this car, over by Mexico, hitch back here. I'll hold them at bay for 3 hours. It's a really good plan.
Yeah, on the fly especially, because they know that Jesse will think he's going to Mexico when he's got a good lead. His best chance he really has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's as a person of interest, he's probably like subject to like a nationwide manhunt at this.
Yeah, for sure. He starts
another
out
neat, like you said earlier.
He starts out with a really bad wig, by the way. Like that, the wig that they've got him in before he quote unquote shaves his head. It's a noticeable. Well, I wouldn't say really bad, but it's a noticeable wig. I've got good wigdar.
But yeah, another nice little touch here is they both like pull out like a wad of cash that they hand over to him when he flees.
Yep.
And that's actually what they received from Walter in the very last episode of Breaking Bad, which takes place not like a day before this.
Yep.
When they pretend to be hitmen, he hands them both like a stack of cash.
Yep, and that's one of the things that I read in the Easter egg things that I probably should have just thought about myself, but I don't know, I didn't put a lot of thought in it. I just thought, oh, they're giving them the money they've got, and I figured, well, they were in the drug trade and shit they've got, but they really weren't that much. But I was like, they've got money, but yeah, when I read that, I was like, oh, of course, yeah, that's the money that Walter gave them, and that's another thing too, where they're just, they love Jesse, they're a lot of this about the beginning is very Jesus-y. This is like his resurrection. He's back from the dead. He's got, wounds on his back from being whipped. So he's got, some like stigmata, if you want to call it that. It's not on his hands, but like he's got those kind of wounds. They, both Badger and Skinny Pete say like, oh, like you're our hero. We look up to you. They look at him as like, this otherworldly, like they were his disciples kind of thing. So there's a lot of, it's not overt, and I don't think it's meant to be religious, but I think it's just meant as a metaphorical, like this is the beginning of his rebirth kind of. So there's a lot of that at the beginning.
Yeah, so he shows up and he gets in the Fiero. No, he took the third car, which was like a garbage car.
Yeah.
But he actually he heads right to Jesse's old place, and then we've kind of flashed back and see that he showed up there. Not Jesse, sorry, Todd.
Jesse Plemons, but
Jesse's
Todd,
the actor, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, while the Nazis are skiing on their ski trip, Todd takes Jesse back. He basically kind of arranges this because he needs Jesse's help. He takes him back to his house, and there's a dead woman in the middle of his kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is interspersed. If you haven't seen the movie, I mean, obviously, if you haven't seen the movie, you should probably watch it before we spoil everything about it. But this is interspersed with flashbacks. Each time he goes to someplace, well, not each time he goes to someplace new, but throughout the I keep wanting to call it an episode because it really does feel like one long episode. But throughout the movie, every time it's relevant, we flash back and we get a little more information. So yeah, he got let out by Todd. Todd brought him to his house, and there's a dead woman there, which the camera slowly reveals. One of the things that I forgot almost about this show is how well Vince Gilligan handles tension. Like Vince Gilligan is an expert at being able to slowly introduce and then ratchet up tension.
Sure.
But yeah,
because like at first, like you see like Jesse reacted, we don't quite see what it is, and then we kind of cut back and oh look, there's a dead lady.
Yeah, and Todd says, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to get into it. It's like he could be talking about like a broken bowl of Cheerios or something like just a shattered bowl of Cheerios in the ground where he's like, I don't even want to talk about this damn heaven. Like he's so casual about it, but it's just a dead human being.
Yeah, then Todd explains that it was this cleaning woman, and he keeps going on about how she was such a nice lady, and he feels so bad about it.
Yeah.
But then like we see there's a encyclopedia volume on his table. Or not a table, on the counter in his kitchen, and he tells Jesse to look at it. It's basically hollowed out, and Todd says, he goes, I finally found a good use for these encyclopedias. He hollowed out like all the volumes and he stores his cash in there because, being in he probably got like I'm sure he got like some money out of the barrels that his uncle took. He probably got like $1 million plus from that alone. I mean, he just has tons and tons of money and so this is Jesse, like he flashes back to that, so he's going into the apartment to try and find where he hid the money. Because Todd says, yeah, I'm going to find another place for it. It might need a little bit of engineering, though. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So...
And then Jesse goes in, and all the books are just empty off the shelf and hollowed out. So he decides to just do a very thorough search. See, I don't know how you would have thought that, maybe the feds didn't come and already take the money, or the police or whatever.
Yeah, that would be my thought, but I think he's basically, because we know, like, eventually we figure out what his plan is. His plan is to use the late disappearer and get away, because that's all he knows what to do, which makes sense. So I think he's basically just desperate. He's like, I need a lot of money right now, in order to...
Yeah, because I think it's 125,000
Yeah.
to go ahead and use, I guess, service.
Yeah, so he knows he needs a lot of money right now. He knows Todd had a lot of money, so I think it's just a Hail Mary. It's like his only plan. So yeah, like you said, I like the montage too. It's another thing that Breaking Bad does really well is the montage, and they always manage to make it interesting and different.
Yeah, and Jesse just tears this place apart. He's ripping the wallpaper off the walls. He's just messing the whole place up. And then also he kind of had to sneak by this like older gentleman who was like just kind of like snooping around, sort of.
Yep. Yeah, a neighbor.
So he's in the apartment, and all of a sudden, like he hears like the door opening, and it's the police have come back, and they're talking to this nosy neighbor who's going on about, that Todd guy, he wasn't a good person after all. Like, he gives like a really weird, like, I think it's like a letter he wrote him or something, but he really doesn't have a good reason as to why he was bad, though we, of course, know that Todd really was a terrible person.
Yeah, exactly. But this guy also just comes off like a dick. It's so funny. Like, I love the way that Breaking Bad is able to take normal people and just be like, well, yeah, I mean, they're a bunch of meth dealers and murderers here and stuff, but this guy's like an asshole, right?
Yeah. Very good at that. So he's talking to the police, and Jesse's in there, like, freaking out because the police show up. But then right, like, when they show it, he kind of realizes, oh, shit, like, there's something off about this fridge. And then he sees there's a seam in it, and sure enough, a big wad of bills kind of tumbles out of it right as the police come through the door.
Yeah, so he goes and hides, and the guys split up, the police officers split up, and one goes to the back room, and then one starts the front, and they're supposed to meet at the middle. In the back room, by the way, is the Drew Sharp's tarantula that Todd took from him.
Yeah, that was a nice creepy detail. Like, he just, like, after he just shoots his kid in cold blood, he just keeps his tarantula as a pet.
Mm-hmm. And, it's weird because there's also these very odd and very disturbing to me handmade snow globes.
Yeah, I don't know what those were. Yeah, they were very strange. Todd's an odd person for sure.
I'm thinking that they might be like trophies of there might be one with like the cleaning lady in it. I'm thinking, but the one that we do see is him looking at Lydia sitting on a coffee cup in some sort of like winter wonderland kind of scene, because or not a coffee cup, a teacup, because she liked tea so much. And that stevia that got her.
Then we actually do get a call back to Lydia. There's like one of the news stories tells us a woman in Houston is dying of a poison, and she's not expected to survive, which again is a neat detail because he poisoned her not long before he went and got shot up by the water skiing Nazis. Do you think they're exhausted for their ski trip, and that's why they couldn't fight back?
Yeah, probably. Like that one stayed on the chair the entire time. It is so weird to think that. Like, I don't know how long before they were killed, but not long before they were killed, they were on a ski adventure.
That is all I want to... I want to see that next.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to write that. There are some things I'd like to see based off of this. There are a few different things I'd like to see.
Like the Nazis just like showed up like, damn, those poor kids beat us at a volleyball, and now we had to, give up our aspirations to buy the...
Oh my god, that's so awesome.
And then one of the guys goes, they're good with money. They knew how to trick us.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I'm not saying anyone specifically, but Nazis have these crazy opinions.
Yeah, and the kid that they were talking about had his big nose.
Jeez.
But anyway, so the police officer comes in there, and what happens? And
Jesse pulls a gun on him.
Yeah.
So he goes in the back room, and Jesse like sees him, and he's about to explore where he's at. So he just pulls a gun out, and then the guy's like, he's like, call your partner in here, and then the guy's like, Lieutenant, I need you back here. And then, much to our surprise, the lieutenant immediately pulls out his gun, which seems kind of ridiculous at first.
Well, when he said call your partner back here, I thought to myself, well, that's a mistake to give him that power because like he could say any kind of I don't know if police actually have code words for when they're being taken hostage or whatever, but I would imagine maybe they do. And you know, like I thought to myself,
Yeah, I
it was
imagine
like
partners might know something's off. I don't know.
yeah. So I didn't figure it out. What I thought, not at first anyway. What I thought is oh maybe that guy's not a lieutenant. Maybe he's like
Yeah, that's my thought too. I thought he like kind of knew something was up by the way he acted.
yeah. But yeah.
So the lieutenant goes back there, and there's a. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You got this. I mean, I'll take it if you want.
I'm sorry.
I said, go ahead.
Oh no, it broke up for a second.
Okay.
So the lieutenant goes back there, and there's a little standoff, and they subdue Jesse. And when they start tying his legs up with like wire or something like that, he goes, "Wait, where's the handcuffs?" And we kind of realize at the same time he does that these are.
Yeah, as soon as they start tying him up with wire, I looked at my wife and I was like, they're not cops. I'm like, why would they be doing that? They're not cops. And another way that, that Vince Gilligan writes things so well, it's like very satisfying. But yeah, it turns out that, as Jesse figures out, they just went and bought these FBI or whatever they were, police jackets at a store. And they, it's funny too, because when you think about stuff that happens earlier in the scene, they give you enough clues, I suppose, because the nosy neighbor keeps talking about, oh yeah, I told the guys yesterday, and it's like he keeps talking about the cops that came here yesterday. So it's like, if you think back on it, it's like, well, why are they there? Because the cops have already been here, kind of thing. But Jesse figures his way out of the situation. Somebody said in one of the reviews that I was reading that this is a very Walter White-esque thing. I don't agree. I think this is a very Jesse type thing. I think this kind of echoes back.
Yeah, he kind of.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, he kind of just figures out. He's like, "Wait, you can't shoot me. They'll catch you, before you even leave the building,
Yeah.
And plus, some of the stuff they said was kind of bullshit too. They said there's like 12 cops downstairs. Just why would there be that many just around this building for like a dead?
Yeah, exactly. But like I was saying, I think this echoes back to when he, the one guy stole his money when he was all drugged out and shit like that at the party, and the guy had stolen his bag of money, and Mike blindfolded him, tied him up, and gave the bag back to him, and he was like, yeah, we're gonna kill this or whatever. And Jesse's like, what do you want me to freak out? Or so he's like, I know you're not gonna kill him because you blindfolded him. So if you were going to kill him, you wouldn't even bother with the blindfold kind of thing. And then he just like walks away. And so it shows like even when he's like high out of his mind, he's still clever. So like you said, and that's why this is totally him to me. So like he figures out you can't shoot me because then you got to kill that nosy neighbor. Then you got to kill everyone in the apartments. All this shit. He's like, I'm taking my half of the money. And then the guy gives up basically and says, okay, 3 ways. So you can take a third. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, that's a decent deal. Take a third of the money and then leave. So he does. He grabs a third of the money and then he, they both get out of there. And Jesse sees the car. Yeah, go ahead. You tell this.
Yeah, he tries to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah. He does see the car, and it kind of gives him a flashback to something that never really existed previously.
No. Oh yeah. He. I think you're not there, but you'll be back in a second. But yeah.
Oh no, I am here.
Okay.
It just keeps kind of like cutting, and it cuts off the front of your words. So I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe we will have to redo this one. Let's.
Nah, we'll be fine.
Maybe not, but yeah. So we see this like scene of like this guy who from this welding company who basically helped construct the cage that Jesse was in and also the chain he was attached.
Yep.
And he's just kind of sitting there while the Nazis are he bets the guy $50 that he didn't put enough metal on there to restrain Jesse. That if Jesse can break through, he's going to pay him $50, and then he'll put more secure metal.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so as soon as I saw that, I was like, well, Jesse needs to get revenge, right? But I guess no, because that's a very Walter White thing. And that's what I was thinking is like, he's going to need to get revenge. But then I was like, well, that is a Walter White thing. So he does kind of get revenge, but not really. He doesn't go there for revenge. This highlights a lot of the ways he's not like Walter White, honestly. But yeah, so he sees that, and then he goes to we could see he's been looking in the phone book for vacuum cleaner repair shops because he doesn't remember which one it is. But then
so he kind of drives around looking for because you remember there was a red minivan.
Exactly. And he finds the one.
So he does find the shop, and then I believe it is the same name. I mean, it must be. I can't imagine they changed.
Yeah, no, it's the same name. But then he like goes up to the counter.
Yeah, so he goes in,
and he's like, I don't remember the words. Like he said,
yeah, it was like a special like vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
I think it actually it's like Hoover Max something or something like that. I don't think it was that. I think it was like an actual not model or something.
I remember it was I need a filter for, and then it was some vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, he walks in there and like there's like this old lady that Ed is very patiently talking to about like fixing her vacuum, and like he goes, "Oh no, I don't want you to bring it in yourself. I don't want you to hurt yourself. Have your niece or someone help you lift it and stuff." And so when she leaves, Jesse just goes and flips the sign to close and locks the door.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, "Hey, you shouldn't do that. I am open for business." And he tries to do the thing, and he's like, "I know you're the guy." He's like, "I saw the car. I know it's you." He puts all the money on the counter, and he's like, "Here it is, $125,000. I need to get away. All this crap." And then the guy finally does reveal himself, and he says, "You owe me for that first pickup, the one that's." And that's the thing is like, if you recall, Saul says you don't get a second chance with this guy. So
yeah, but he's also been following the news.
Mm-hmm. So that's definitely been established. But he's like, you owe me for that first time. So Jesse, tries to come up with the rest of the money. He puts all the money out on there, and then the money that Badger and Skinny Pete gave him, and he's $1,800 short, and the guy's not going to do it.
Yeah, he's definitely a stickler, obviously, outside of this exception he's giving Jesse, but he's also nice enough to give him all the money back and say, come back when and then Jesse's like, "No, I'm going to do it now. You're going to do this." Mm-hmm. And then so he just picks up the phone and calls 911.
Yep. He calls the police, and Jesse, in another classic Jesse moment, Jesse's like, "You're bluffing, and you wouldn't call the police. You've got as much to lose as I do," and all this stuff. And then the police just show up behind him.
And he's like, "Yeah, they wouldn't just let you hang up." It's actually kind of like a movie thing, where he's like, "Oh, they didn't give the address because, it's a TV show or a movie or whatever it is." But he's like, "Oh, you didn't do this." And they usually have you wait on the line. And then like he just looks outside and like in the quickest response time of all time, the cruiser's just already out there.
Yeah, my wife actually, because she deals with 911 sometimes, she said to me, she's like, "Jesse," she's like, first of all, she's like, "Jesse, you're such an idiot. Like, he's not bluffing." And then she goes, "No, they don't make you do that." She's like, "It depends on how busy they are." She's like, "A lot of times they're happy to get you off the phone." Depending on where you are. I mean, I don't know exactly what Albuquerque is like as far as crime and what, how overburdened or underburdened.
Well, they've had a bit of a crime wave recently.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm sure they were happy to get him off the line, especially for something that wasn't, a super emergency or anything like that.
Yeah. So he shows up, Jesse runs away, and Ed, to his credit, describes him as a very tall, thin man, which is not Jesse. But it might be, I would say it can't be Badger, but yeah.
No, it just like he said, with a bug tattoo or an insect tattoo over his eye.
I think over his left eye or something like that.
Yeah. So, and he tells him the opposite direction that he went in. So, he is still also kind of being nice. He's a complex character. But
Yeah, like I don't understand. Like much like Gus, I don't understand why he still like operates this vacuum store all day.
yeah, I know it's so weird. But anyway, so
Like it's funny. A lot of the characters on this show, like with the exception of Gus, I would say, seem like they just like were regular people who couldn't make a living doing their legit job. Like the guy who sells guns to Walt, like he just like he's like, yeah, whatever. I can't really.
yeah, exactly. So
So Jesse decides, and see, this is the only part that really doesn't ring that true with me. Jesse decides to go to this guy who, like, had him at gunpoint, like, 24 hours ago, and get the money back from him.
yeah, this is a very Walter White thing to do. This is not necessarily a Jesse thing to do. This is more of a Walter White thing to do.
Yeah, I honestly, this is the part I really didn't buy for, the whole movie. It's just kind of like, but I mean, what? But at the same time, I mean, they have to have some kind of dramatic tension. I mean, having the police called on you is probably going to be a disappointment to most people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he goes to his parents' house first because he needs a gun, and he tells them that, can you pick me up at this park? I'm going to turn myself in, like you asked me to do on TV, because he saw them on TV saying, is there anything you want to say to your son? Turn yourself in. Not we love you or anything like that. Just turn yourself in.
Yeah, and to add insult to that, when he goes into to the gun safe, he finds out that the password is no longer his birthday; it's his little brother's birthday.
Yeah. So, but he gets.
And to their credit, they don't show the little brother because he'd be like 10 years older than he was when we last saw him.
Yeah, exactly. But he gets two guns. What gun? So one's a 38, right? The other one's some kind of 22?
The one was a 22. The other one, I could be wrong. I'd have to look at this. I'm almost positive that's a very odd model of gun. It's like a Smith & Wesson number 3, a gun that shoots like this really weird caliber 44 Russian.
Oh, okay.
But they're like a break open action. It looks very odd. That's why I think it's that. I'd have to verify that. But yeah, it's definitely not. It's at least a 38. It might even be a 44, like not Magnum, but 44 Russian. It's a very strange gun, that's for sure.
Okay, but anyway, so yeah, he gets those, and then goes down to this Candy's place, the welding place, to get his money, basically. And he has to wait though because we get another cameo. I don't know if you recognize this guy or not. I recognized him. But the bodyguard for the strippers that these guys called in because they got a bunch of new money is one of the guys from Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Mike...
He's like this big, giant guy.
Yeah, when Mike gets the job to chauffeur around the guy that's selling the prescription drugs on the street, he's one of the 3 that shows up. And after Mike beats the shit out of the one guy and takes his gun, he offers the gun to the big guy, and the big guy just stares at him for a second and then just turns and runs away.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's the guard for the strippers. They come in. We don't really see them strip or anything like that. I believe I'm trying to think. I think there's another Easter eggy type thing here. Oh yeah, he's sitting there waiting, and a little beetle's crawling on the ground. He lets it crawl on his hand, much like he did in the episode. I think it's a season 2 episode. I can't remember the name of the episode, but it's the one where he needs to get the money from the meth heads that held up his boy, Skinny Pete. The one where they've got the little boy in there and everything. It's a very upsetting episode. But the beginning kind of shows with him, with that bug and everything. It shows how he cares about life and things like that. It's like, sort of mirrors how he cares about the little boy and he wants to do right by him and all this stuff. And so it's the same. It's just kind of like a callback to that, like reminding us that he cares about the sanctity of life, which, I mean, is a little undercut by the next scene. But yeah, like I said, like you said, and I agree with you, this is the one section that I didn't really buy that much. But he comes in, and he does a very Jesse-like thing, and he says, hey, I need $1,800. $1,800, and I'm gone. You'll never have to see me again. The guy even points out, he's like, why not 2,000, like a round number? He's like, 1,800 is all I need. Just $1,800.
Yeah, and then the one burglar reveals to the other that he actually gave him a third of their money, which he didn't know because it was just it was like a fridge packed full of money. He had no idea to account for how much was there.
Right, exactly.
So he gets pissed, and the other guy starts posturing, and then the guy notices that Jesse has a gun, and he goes, "Oh, what kind of gun is that?" And Jesse pulls it out, and they kind of laugh. He goes, "That's a 22," which, for those who don't really know much about guns, you can probably take a couple shots from a 22 and be okay, depending on where you're shot.
Yeah.
Like, they're not super big guns. They're squirrel killing guns is what they are. You know, they're for plinking cans and shooting balloons and stuff like that. They're not a serious self-defense.
Yeah, exactly. So he suggests a shootout like in the Old West. Winner gets the...
Yeah, and this guy has a 45 on his hip, which is a much more, adequate self-defense.
Yeah, so they stand off like they're going to, like a shootout, like an actual Western shootout. And Jesse, pulls the neat trick of which I think everyone... I don't know if everyone saw it coming, but it's the whole time he's got his left hand in his pocket, and he's hovering.
Yeah, I think his character is left-handed too, which is another nice touch because shooting a gun offhanded is very different.
Yeah, exactly. So he does he takes the posture, and then when the guy goes to draw, he's already got it basically pointed at him from his pocket. So he shoots him, kills him. And then the other guy, goes to grab a gun, the other burglar guy, and he kills him. And then the other guys, the guys that are just there for fun and strippers and coke, they're all doing a bunch of coke, writing episodes of Small Wonder. He,
Right. Yeah, he threatens them, and he basically has them give them his license, saying he'll come and murder them if they leave any word.
Yeah, exactly. So he, he takes the rest of the money and then he blows up the place. I think this is also another like catharsis type thing because it's the place that like helped imprison him.
I guess that also seemed very unnecessary to me, but what can you do? I mean, it doesn't seem like if you're in a hurry, you're going to stop and rig up a welding torch to blow up all these other, propane tanks. But what?
It's another Walter White-esque thing, I thought. And I thought the same thing when it was
exploding.
Yeah, I was like, that's
so he goes back to Ed, and Ed takes him in his U-Haul with a secret compartment all the way up to Alaska.
Yep.
And then on the way there, like, Jesse has like a flashback with Jane. They're driving in the car, and she's like the least changed-looking person from... I mean, Jesse basically looks the same, too.
Yeah.
But what's her name? I'm drawing a blank.
Kristen Ritter.
There you go. Kristen Ritter looks basically the same.
Yeah.
So they're talking about, like, he's kind of reminiscing on that. There's a scene that, I was glad to see, but I mean, it wasn't like a big scene. It was him and Walter at a restaurant, which is kind of funny because it was actually from an episode where they say, as soon as we're done, we're going to get a shower and a nice hot meal. So they're at a hotel with rooms next to each other. So they did just that. And they're just talking about kind of like, Jesse promises that he'll make sure his kids and family get all his money. And then Walter tells Jesse, he goes, you're lucky. You did something big when you were young. I had to wait like my whole life to do it.
Yeah.
And that's like a kind of nice, reminiscent kind of scene. We also forgot to mention Mike is at the beginning. It's nice on the nice quiet river where he was killed later. He's telling Jesse that he would go to Alaska if he had to do all over. Yeah. Or, if he had to leave his life right now because Jesse's young and that's like the last frontier out there, and Cash and Jesse's temperament will probably do pretty well in Alaska.
Yeah, and Mike looks pretty much the same too. Walter, White's Mr. Bryan Cranston there has got a pretty obvious bald cap on, which is slightly distracting, but it doesn't take me out of it. The two things that I liked about that scene with Walter White are, one, we see the beginnings of Walter White basically saying, he views, it's sad, he views this life that he built for the last 50 years with a wife and a child, having family and things like that, and people who love him and everything. He views that as a waste or as a failure. And now that he's, a big shot, or not quite yet, but now that he's having success in the drug trade, he views that as something great. It's weird, but it fits his character. And it's clear that, this loss of the, what's it called, the Schwartz company, the black and white, gray matter, that's what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the loss of that, has haunted him basically his entire life, and he never felt important or anything. And I mean, that's like his big motivator, obviously. But he's also telling Jesse, hey, maybe you should do something with your life. You're young.
Yeah, he suggests he become like a businessman or something like that. He does point out that Jesse has a talent for marketing.
Mm-hmm. And Mike also at the beginning says, hey, maybe do something with your life, get some freedom and stuff like that. And then Jane also says the same thing, where he's talking about that philosophy that she said, the universe putting you in places and stuff. And she's like, yeah, that's bullshit. She's like, that's what I've done my entire life. You need to take your own, you need to take charge of your own life, basically. So essentially, she is also saying to him, hey, why don't you go do something with your life? So everyone's saying that. And like you said, those flashbacks, they all go together really well to kind of give that message. And the last scene of him driving in Alaska, it's a very satisfying compare and contrast to the last scene of him in Breaking Bad, where he's all disheveled and dirty and screaming and everything as he gets out driving in the car. And now, and in the desert, and it's at night. Now it's the day. It's in the snow. He's clean and calm in one of the most comfortable looking turtlenecks I've ever seen on camera. Just driving.
Yeah, that's like a nice another thing. The director likes to do, whose name I forget at the moment, Vince Gilligan, is he likes to use colors to like express emotions and stuff. And in Breaking Bad, that's like a Walter White-esque, like, when he's calm and peaceful before he's Heisenberg kind of sweater. Something that'll just kind of shows you that things are going to be okay for Jesse from now on.
Yep. And I'd like to see a spin-off too, where it's basically like a sitcom of him in Alaska, starting a wife and family. That's the
starting a wife.
Sorry, starting a family with a wife, like Northern Exposure, but he's not a doctor.
Wouldn't it be great if they just ruined it at the very end and he goes like a sawmill and Dexter's there, and they just look at each other and go, "Whoa!"
He's there to hunt down Dexter.
Yeah. That's like the complete opposite of endings for series. Like one of the best against one of the worst.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Two pretty good shows. I mean, Dexter. I like Dexter a lot. Dexter, not only the last episode, but several of the last episodes, the last season. Or the last
few seasons. Yeah. It was very, very hit or miss. Like, there were complete seasons of Dexter that were just not good. But then I'm like, oh, I'm done. But then, like, the next season's like, oh, look, it's Jonathan Lithgow, and he's great in this. Like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I like Dexter for the most part. The highs were really high. Like, the highs of the show were really good, but the lows were really low, which is, Breaking Bad obviously wasn't that. Breaking Bad was, pretty much
very consistently good.
Yeah, consistently good with some very high highs in there, but no real lows.
And this episode is a good compliment to it. It's like you said, it's not necessary, but it doesn't detract anything from it either, which is the greater fear with this sort of project. So I mean, it's a nice compliment. I'm sure someone will edit this into the proper, chronological order and add to other episodes so they have the complete timeline in the proper order. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's a nice episode. I like it. I mean, that's really what it is. It's just a very long episode that you don't need, but it's like an epilogue. It's something that kind of shows you what happens. But it's not a full season. It's just like a nice kind of ending that wraps Jesse's story up as well.
Yeah, I was pleased with it. I recommend it. If you're a fan of Breaking Bad, you'll probably like it. Don't go in expecting the greatest movie you've ever seen or anything like that, but it's it meets the standards.
It won't disappoint you.
No, not at all.
It's definitely a tribute to the fans. There's a lot of fan service in there. Some of our favorite characters, like Mike, I love that character. He's in there. Obviously, Walter is everyone's favorite. We see Joe show up. Robert Forster, as usual, is amazing in this. He's he'll be missed. He was very old at this point, 82, I think.
Yeah.
So still a great actor. He's just like the perfect. It's almost like a Gilligan type with Mike. They're like the nice, calm, cool professional.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Gus. I always felt that the show was about like an amateur just fucking things up because if Walter's not there for the most part, the drug trade just runs smoothly. Eventually, Gus will get his revenge without having to be killed like immediately afterwards. It's all runs perfect without Walter White fucking things up.
Yeah, you're absolutely right too. Without Walter White, everyone makes so much money and everyone's life is so good.
Yeah, and they're not at war, so there's not like these random killings, and there's no need to kill Brock's mom and all that stuff.
Yep.
I mean, that's all Walter. He's the one who brought these neo-Nazis into this.
Exactly, and Jane would still be alive and not addicted to heroin.
I don't know about Jane.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if she had never met Jesse, if Jesse didn't have the money to rent that place, I guess. But Jesse's a pretty resourceful guy. I mean, he really is quite entrepreneurial. He probably would have been able to get a nice place like that eventually. But I don't know. Did he cause her to get back on heroin? Or it was her idea, so
yeah,
who really knows?
True. That's true. She probably would have relapsed either way. But and maybe
she's like crystal meth. Try this out. I mean, if Walter wasn't there, I guess he kind of did knock her off him. But I mean, who's to say that if she was so fragile that just like touching someone knocks her off of him? I mean, that was going to happen one way or the other.
Oh, for sure. If you do heroin long enough, you're not getting out of that alive. I mean, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So again, a good episode. It was nice, to see. I don't think it's something I need to rewatch, but I mean, it's not by any means at all a bad movie / episode. It's worth the watch, especially if you're a Breaking Bad fan. Better Call Saul fan. It's for the completists. You probably should watch it.
I was happy that this was on Netflix. I think my feelings on it would have been a little bit harsher if I had to go to the movie theater and pay for it and all that stuff. Not that I would have been like, this is terrible or anything like that. I wouldn't have felt that way, but I would have thought to myself, well, I mean, it's kind of like, why did I pay for this? You know what I mean? Like I would have, just because of it's an unnecessary thing, I would have.
Yeah, and it's a TV show you're used to watching, not in the theater for every, episode or whatever.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, I think being able to see it in your home, I think, having it be on Netflix where it's essentially free. I mean, I know we all pay a subscription for it, but, you're not paying anything extra for it. I think that was the way to go with it for sure. If it had come to the theaters, I think it might have been a bit of a different thing. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think anyone out there will. But that is our episode for tonight. I don't know. Why don't you tell some friends about us being here? You can check us out on tomorrow and listen to Dumpster Diving. Oh, and I guess I realized now we did some callbacks to some stuff that you guys haven't heard yet. So we
recorded Weird Order this time. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't wish my wife a happy anniversary today. We're recording on the 15th.
Happy anniversary, guys!
Thank you.
That was one of the best weddings that I ever went to. Was your guys' wedding?
Yeah, everyone seemed to have fun.
It was a very fun wedding, and I helped. I did some helping.
You did help. Yep, you were a groomsman. You helped.
But yeah, that's great. Happy anniversary, guys, and I don't know. Wish Mike a happy anniversary on Twitter or something.
And I'll say that was days ago, you piece of shit.
Right. Let's see. So I'm trying to think. Yeah, we'll have another episode before your birthday. Just barely.
Recording, yes.
Yeah, just barely. We'll have an episode. We'll be recording an episode the day before your birthday, I believe. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, and then we record. If we're recording on Tuesday, then we record the next week is my actual birthday. But anyway, so we'll be wishing Mike a happy birthday next week, which I remember last year wishing you a happy birthday on one of our earlier episodes, which means we've definitely it's been more than a year that we've been doing this thing. It's been a good year.
Yeah, it's been a while.
All right, well, we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
See you later.